Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for this video. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at the things around the world, and a lot of believers, we are chomping at the bit to get out of here, and I know a lot of people are looking at the Feast of Trumpets going forward from here, but I'd like to share some good news and some encouragement. I believe that we are on the right timeline for the third month and the 15th day. And in fact, the fulfillment of the rapture might not be that day. It may be the day, the two Sabbaths after that. But what's happening is our departure and our escape is actually being paralleled in the pattern of the Israelites leaving Egypt. Okay, so very amazingly, I don't know too much about the skies and the heavens, and I'm probably going to misquote a whole lot of things, but I do know that Psalms 19 is a very important psalm, and it talks about how the Lord uses the heavens to that they speak day after day and night after night, and actually talks about wisdom being gained. So yes, we have the Holy Spirit, and that's the Holy Spirit, I believe, is obviously our confirmation. So we're not divining some sort of abstract message out of it. That's what the world does. In fact, the cabal and the Albert Pikes of this world actually they obviously thought there was more into it, and it's quite bizarre because as a body of believers we actually kind of seem to stray away from that, but I believe there's very strong evidence that the connections in the heavens are connecting to our departure and are showing the pattern of Israel leaving Egypt and coming to Mount Sinai, where they met their Lord, their God. The Israelites met them as a consuming fire, but the 70 members of Israel, 70 elders, Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, his two sons, they meet the Lord in a very different environment, and it's a lot more sort of intimate and personal. I want to say friendly. I don't know if that's really the word, but anyway, of course, our Lord loves us, so it's going to be different. What Israel saw. They saw, a God who was to be feared. It says that the smoke was billowing off the Mount Sinai, like a brick kiln. So, a lot of fear for those people, but we have the hope of Jesus, and our hope is coming to rescue us. And I guarantee you, I really hope you're going to be encouraged with what I share today. So just to kick it off, just to give us a starting timeline, I believe a lot of people have mentioned the Feast of Weeks to be fulfilled, and I think we're on par for that. We're just off on the calendar. The reason why I say that is that if we actually take the 2nd of May as our start date, this is going to correlate to the month of Abib. Now, if we look at Exodus 12 and Exodus 13, we can see that the Lord tells Moses to tell Aaron to consecrate the month. excuse me, on the first day of the month. So they've marked it, but the Israelites only left on the 14th. Okay, so this is Passover, and their escape is the Passover, and obviously that kind of foreshadows the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. So their wanderings through the wilderness, the desert of Shur, I hope I got that right, and the Mara and the bitter waters, we can almost pinpoint those days to Jesus' death, burial, resurrection, and unleavened bread. And of course, what happens is the Israelites then in Exodus 19 arrive at Mount Sinai, and it says that they arrived exactly 2 months after they had left Egypt. So I believe that brings us to, 3 months after they'd left Egypt. And that brings us to the third month of the 15th day. what we then see is that the Sabbath after is when the Israelites then see God. God comes down, the Lord comes down. He reveals himself to Israel as a burning mountain. And of course, there's a covenant meal eaten, and the people are then dedicated, by the blood. And the covenant is fulfilled then. We then see Moses then wait 6 days after this covenant meal is had, and he then enters into the cloud on the seventh day. Okay, so it's a 4-month timeline from the month of Abib, 2nd of May, to when Moses goes up into the cloud. And I'm going to kind of just share how that plays out in the heavens. So just to kick back to Passover, again, I know there was a lot of talk about second Passover and a super blood moon. As it relates to this month of Abib, it actually is the Passover. And if you look at the constellation Libra, that in ancient Hebrew, in ancient times, actually used to be known as the altar. And if you position it, the section where the super blood moon took place at exactly 6 a.m. and then transfigured, it really, it went from red to it almost rose. That transfiguration to glorification kind of happened right above the altar portion. Now, if you look at the ark, that is the mercy seat portion, and that is also where the Lord spoke to Moses from when they built the tabernacle. So again, there's the imagery. There's a lot of connection into that. There's a lot of other connections into the beginning of the Feast of Weeks, and right up until the third month, 15th day, which I believe the Sun and Mercury are in the Gemini portion of the constellations, and the Moon is it turns to full brightness on the back of Sagittarius, or the horse and bow rider. Okay, so it's very much you've got this picture of a friend, and you've got this picture of a escape and a rider. Okay, so someone a bit like David and Jonathan kind of thing. So there's those connections into that. What really got my attention is the passage in Exodus 24 when it talks about Moses obviously consecrating the people with the blood. Moses, Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, his 2 sons, with the 70 elders, ascend. And the passage describes it like this: that they sat down, and it describes them as not being destroyed by the fire. Obviously, Israel's watching this fire, but it says that in fact they sat down and ate a covenant meal, and they gazed upon him, and underneath his feet was a pedestal of lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself. Now, if we connect that into Revelation 4, we can see a similar type of language being spoken in Revelation 4 about the crystal clear sea of glass. Obviously, lapis lazuli isn't mentioned, but Revelation 4 has the same sort of typology in the language. So it really is connected into a prophetic moment there in time. What's really interesting and what's really amazing is that there's such a strong confirmation celestially of this event that we are patterning. And if we go to the 21st of July, and we have a look at where the constellation, where the moon is. The moon is directly underneath the feet of Aries, or the Lamb, and directly conjoining with that, there's a conjunction of Mars. Now, Mars obviously symbolizes war for those coming out of the Roman period, but of course this is the heavens of the Lord. So the Lord obviously can use color to interpret His message any way He likes. And if you think that's a wild guess, if you look at the back hind quarter of the leg of the of Aries, or the lamb, and you zoom in, you've got Uranus at the base there, and of course Uranus is it's a gas giant, right? So there's got these gas, it's a huge gas ball, and of course the color of Uranus is this intense blue, and it's very closely related to this lapis lazuli as is described. Now, lapis lazuli was a gemstone, I believe is a gemstone. It's quite notable. I think I had to look it up. I'm sure a lot of people, by the looks of things, most people know what lapis lazuli is. But that picture is absolutely incredible, and I'm going to post it up for you somewhere somehow, or put it in a connection. So having those three key dates in place, really the next thing was to look at, was there, where did the story end? And if we push forward to July 28, 29, we can see that the Sun, Moon, and Mercury planets, or the bodies, are in the constellation of the Sheepfold, which is what we know as Cancer. And Mercury, oddly enough, sits perfectly between that sheepfold and the Lion of Judah, which again, it's quite amazing. It just, Mercury's been moving, and it's just literally just sat on that border. And I find Mercury has been almost kind of like a highlight to the constellations, and for the last, from the Abib month, has almost sort of gone side by side with the sun. So again, this is sort of like to me it's a celestial confirmation. And again, this is going to need discernment, and I hope that by sharing and by encouraging others, that somebody else is going to take this and test it, and see, hopefully, and find some more, because I think the story is quite amazing. I think that our story paralleled with the Israelites coming out of Egypt is it's amazing. So there's this whole thing going to it. As for the tribulation, I don't. I believe the Lord confirmed another date through a constellation, and that was a solar eclipse in December 4th of last year, 2021. And this date fell on the 1st of Tevet, when Esther goes to see the king for the first time. And then, of course, the 6th day of Hanukkah, which is the Feast of Dedication. And, of course, man was created, or the Gentiles were created on the 6th day of creation. So, again, looking at that date 6 months forward, we find that we're at the 1st of June. And this is a time that I thought didn't have any connections until I dug a little bit deeper into General Titus, and of course Jesus prophesied about Titus not leaving one stone on another. Very interesting. So that prophetic connection is not only for the destruction in 70 CE, but also for the coming tribulation. And of course we see the big wigs and the groups. We will not mention them, just in case I get flagged. Their plan has been rolled out, but the lawless one hasn't been revealed yet. And so we're in a very small window of time at the moment. But again, folks, I hope this encourages you. To have a look over the Mount Sinai journey from the Israelites, and just kind of have a look at each full moon, new moon. I've taken most of the timings from sunset, so dusk, twilight, 6:30, always from a position of Jerusalem, Israel. So, and again. All right, folks. So thank you. That's really all I have to share for the moment. I know that there was my teleprompter's broken, so so I know that there was a whole plethora of things that I wanted to share, but I believe God, kind of will guide us, and I hope you've got the bulk of what's important and what encourages your heart. So Be blessed, and thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye. God bless.